President Trump holds a press gaggle on Air Force One. What the heck is a gaggle? It's like a giggle, but a gaggle instead. Whatever.
Mr. President, we had a good time this weekend. We had a lot of very interesting things happen. I think we're making a lot of progress on Ukraine and Russia. There's always conflict, but I think we're making a lot of progress getting it stopped. We just want to see thousands of soldiers a week stop dying, because they're dying at numbers that probably haven't seen since the Second World War for no reason whatsoever. It's a shame. It's a shame. So I think we are making progress. Step by step, there's tremendous hatred between the leaders, if you call the whole situation leaders. But I think we'll get that done. And in the Middle East, a lot of things are happening with respect to Iran. And we'll see if we can get something done. And if not, it's going to be a bad situation. Very, very bad.
Oil sanctions that you mentioned today, when will they start?
So we have a couple. We have the secondary tariffs on Iran, and we'll probably give it a couple of weeks. And if we don't see any progress, we're going to put them on. We're not putting them on right now, but if you remember, I did that 6 years ago, and it worked very well, to put it mildly. And if the election weren't rigged, you would have a situation where there would be no problem with Iran today. But it was. Biden didn't know what he was doing, obviously. And we have a very rough situation in the Middle East because of that. You ended up with October 7th, and you would have never had October 7th, and you would have never had Russia going into Ukraine like was. But we're going to make a decision on secondary tariffs on Iran based on whether or not they're going to make a deal. If they're going to make a deal, then we're never going to put secondary tariffs on. We're going to hope they have a great, long, and successful life as a country. But we'll see what happens. It's very interesting. I can't imagine them doing anything else but making a deal. I would prefer a deal to the other alternative, which I think everybody in this plane knows what that is. And that's not going to be pretty, and I do not prefer that.
So, Mr. President, on the tariffs, you said that you were at one point that the tariffs Tuesday would be more conservative than what people might think. There's reports that you are maybe now looking to make the tariffs higher. So are you weighing higher tariffs? Or?
The tariffs will be far more generous than those countries were to us, meaning they will be kinder than those countries were to the United States of America over the decades. They ripped us off like no country's ever been ripped off in history. And we're going to be much nicer than they were to us, but it's substantial money for the country, nevertheless.
On the tariffs that you're planning, so you're expecting to hit something like 10 to 15 countries, is that right?
No.
All of the countries.
Is it across the board?
Not 10. I don't know who told you 10 or 15 countries.
We heard that. So we heard that you were going to aim for the 15%.
But you didn't hear it from me.
Okay, so how many countries will be in that initial tranche?
You'd start with all countries, so let's see what happens.
You didn't hear it from him. Flint says they use gaggle because they don't want to be thought of as vultures.
Well, essentially, all of the countries that we're talking about, would be talking about all countries. That's not a cutoff. And if you look at the history and you look at what's happened to us, you go to certain places, go to Asia, and you take a look at every single country in Asia, what they've done to the United States in trade, and by the way, in military in a certain way. You look at, you would take a look at trade with Asia, and I wouldn't say anybody is treated as fairly or nicely, and but we are going to treat them. We're going to be much more generous to them in terms of heart. We're going to be much more generous than they were to us.
You said that you were not joking about a third term, about possibly wanting a third term. Does that mean you're not planning to leave office on January 20th?
I'm not looking at that, but I'll tell you, I have had more people ask me to have a third term, which is in a way a fourth term because the other election popular because we've done a great job. I think we've had the best almost 100 days of any president. And
Chat, you know me. I'm not the brightest. I still got a lot of stuff to learn, right? Just like everybody else. However, when it comes to this gentleman here, I've never seen a president do so much in one day. Not saying that, not one day, like a month or a few weeks. Now, I will say, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, so maybe there's more going on behind closed doors, but geez Louise. Also, can we all agree that the audio quality of this is really bad? It's because they're on a plane or somewhere, maybe Air Force One, they might be on Mars, I don't know. Flint says, heck, the 2016 and 24 elections have had numerous errors that affect the outcome of elections. He's flexing his power for darn sure. He is. He very much is. Which can be very dangerous, like to move so fast. It's kind of like how you don't want to cook a turkey, like really fast. You're gonna it's not good, right? However, at the same time, I personally have never cooked a turkey really fast, so I can't tell you if it'll turn out. If that makes any sense, it probably doesn't make any sense. I know I say like a big dummy, but for this situation, I've never seen a president move so fast. Like it was always caught up in legalities and all other stuff, but he comes in like, nope, we're doing it. Knock that off the table. Get that down. Nope. Nuh-uh. Say, oh, you're gonna make people mad. I don't care. Do it. Do the thing. Now, I can say I'm not personally affected by any of this. Like this only starts knocking on my door of effect if it starts coming after anime. That's the only thing that affects me, chat. Aside from that, it doesn't affect me personally. So it's kind of like that. Flint says still is being caught up in legal issues. Yeah, it is. There's still like legal issues going on with all the stuff that Donald Trump is doing, but at the same time, I've just never seen so much being happening. Like maybe it's because this president is doing a lot more press conferences than like others. That might be the case. Like everything he does is like, hey, come interview. Kind of. Flint says, don't think he's going to come for your waifu stuff. I don't think you've known me for very long. Like I love anime, but I can't ever see myself having anime merchandise, if that makes any sense. I mean, there is merchandise with my face on it, so there's that, but having, like anime posters all over myself, it's just not my style, chat. I'm classy. I'm classy. Anyway, let's get back to hearing what this very bad audio quality has to say.
most people are saying that, and it's an honor. We're bringing back our country. We're respected as a country again, and we're strongly respected. And people are amazed. I was with some very important people today, and they said that they've never seen a turnaround of a country as fast as this. Even look at our border. We have nobody coming in. And you can come into our country, but you have to come in legally. But
chat, what? I think I've talked about this on another video. It's so odd that the United States get dogged on all the time, and yet people want to go to the United States so badly. It's a very odd situation. I mean, it's not too out of the question, not too crazy, because there's a lot of people who live in the United States and they just dog the United States. But at the same time, it's like if I went over to Flint's house, right? Went over to Flint's house. This carpet is terrible. It's just like, this carpet is terrible. The wall painting is trash. He'd kick me out. Like, he'd kick me out. And I'd be like, no. I don't want to leave. This house is I don't want to leave. I mean, it's a bad house, but I don't want to leave. Yeah, that'd be a very weird situation. I would never do that, by the way. That's very rude. That'd be very rude. But you know what I mean. It'd be like that. We
have nobody coming in to our country. It's almost shut down. They've never seen anything like this.
At an appropriate precedent.
Limits a president to 2 terms. Is it your understanding that they have to
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm just telling you, I have had more people say, please run again. They said, we have a long way to go before we even think about that. But I've had a lot of people. Yeah, go ahead. Did you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, do you think that's an appropriate precedent to set, even if it wasn't you in this position, to see a president serve a 3rd term?
I don't want to talk about a third term now because no matter how you look at it, we got a long time to go. We have a long time. You know, we have almost 4 years to go, and that's a long time.
So if I could try to make sense of what, like he says, if I could try to make sense of what he said, it's why it's safer not to think about a third term. Like it's safer not to think about a third term because the focus is here and now. From what I've seen, a lot of politicians, they're so caught up in wanting to get reelected that they would do anything, like almost anything, just to like win favors, like with as many people as possible. And will a lot of times do things that normally is not very important, but they're doing it because it's people's hot button and everything. And he also doesn't want to knock down the option of a third term and everything, but because he doesn't even know if he'll be healthy around that time. But from what I'm hearing is that, hey, he's saying like, hey, what's important right now is this moment, this election. Like he's already won this election. He's going to focus on this election. And depending on how he's feeling and what he can do or what he can't do, then he might run for a third time if possible. But sometimes people just want to spend the rest of their life just like, retired, chat. Like being a president isn't easy. It isn't. Flint says the news actually changed their amount of press conference they broadcasted when he was doing in 2020. We flew stuff. He was doing about one conference a day. He also says the conferences brought up his approval during that time. And Flint says can't do a third term. We changed that with after FDR. Yeah, I kind of figured that the FDR thing. There's only like a two-term thing. However, I would never say anything is impossible. Because you remember the day when Donald Trump ran, like, got elected the first time? People said, like, and they bet their soul on it. Like, Donald Trump would never win. They bet their soul on it. They bet everything on it. Like, they said it's impossible. It's impossible. That's one of the reasons why I think it's not good to say, impossible. Nothing is impossible. Like, anything is possible. Like, for better or for worse. Like, for example, I would never say it's impossible that mankind will go to a World War III. It's very dangerous. Flint says third term is more of a MAGA third term. And he says 98% for Hillary. It was her turn. Oh. I wonder how... I actually had a woman who told me the reason why... I think I also saw this on a comedy bit. But a woman told me, and said, I think she was making a joke or she was being serious. I don't know. I can't tell with people nowadays, chat. She was saying like, only reason why a woman isn't in office right now because women hate each other. I'm like, God dang. I was like, geez Louise. You ladies are nasty. Jeez Louise.
But despite that, so many people are saying, you've got to run again. They love the job we do. Most importantly, they love the job we do.
So you said you were upset with Flint. Would you say you're...
Flint says, joking. She might have been joking. But at the same time, it's a lot of people have been saying that because she's not the only woman who said that. Like, so it's kind of, for every joke has a bit of truth behind it.
Would you say your relationship with Vladimir Putin is at its lowest point right now?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he's going to go back on his word. You're talking about Putin. I don't think he's going to go back on his word. I've known him for a long time. We've always gotten along well, despite the Russia hoax. It's a hoax created by Clinton and Schiff and all of these lunatics. And that really was a dangerous point. That was a very dangerous thing they did to this country. It was a pure, unadulterated scam, hoax. But no, I think he'll be okay. But if he isn't, I was disappointed in a certain way. Some of the things that were said over the last day or two having to do with Zelensky, because when he considered Zelensky not credible, he's supposed to be making a deal with him, whether you like him or you don't like him. So I wasn't happy with that. But I think he's going to be good. And I certainly wouldn't want to put secondary tariffs on Russia, but secondary tariffs on, as you know, in Venezuela. And it's had a very strong impact on Venezuela. You know that every ship just got out and they left. A lot of them left. They dropped the hoses right into the ocean and they left. They didn't want to be there for a minute because they didn't want those tariffs to catch on, or they didn't want me to see them there. So the Venezuela secondary tariffs, all secondary tariffs are very strong because essentially it says if you disobey our orders, you cannot do business in the United States of America, and that's the cash cow.
Will that apply to Chinese companies buying Russian oil as well, if you plan to go ahead with those?
So if, in the case of Venezuela, as you know, China pulled up anchor and left. They were there. They had 2 ships there, and they left. They left empty. They didn't want to take a chance. No, we're not playing games. Okay, any other questions?
Will you clarify, are you planning to leave office January 20th, 2029, or are you saying you might not?
Go ahead, any other questions?
On TikTok. The deadline's
We're
coming
working on
up.
TikTok. We have a lot of potential buyers. There's tremendous interest in TikTok. The decision's going to be my decision, as you know, through Congress. They've given me the power to make the decision. We have a great team of people essentially taking bids. We have a lot of people that want to buy TikTok. We're dealing with China also on it because they may have something to do with it, and we'll see how that goes. But it's something I think you're going to have. I'd like to see TikTok remain alive. I mean, I'll be honest, selfishly speaking, I won the young vote by 36 points. Republicans generally don't do very well with the young vote, and I think a lot of it could have been TikTok. It could have been Joe Rogan, and it could have been a lot of things, but it was also TikTok. TikTok is it's very interesting. A lot of people want to buy it.
If no deal, will you extend the deadline?
Well, there'll be a deal with TikTok. I'm pretty
So on the
sure.
border, there are-
We would.
Mr. President, a deadline for Russian President Vladimir Putin? Is there a deadline for Russian President Vladimir Putin to agree to a ceasefire?
It's a psychological deadline. If I think they're tapping us along, I will not be happy about it.
Do you think they are right now?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think he wants to make a deal. And I think Zelensky, by the way, I see he's trying to back out of the rare earth deal. And if he does that, he's got some problems. Big problems. We made a deal on rare earth. And now he's saying, well, you know, I want to renegotiate the deal. He wants to be a member of NATO. Well, he was never going to be a member of NATO. He understands that. So if he's looking to renegotiate the deal, he's got big problems. Go ahead.
Mr. President, have you had any more outreach from the automakers, and are you reconsidering that at all?
No. The automakers are going to make a lot of money, the American automakers, or international automakers if you're talking about they're going to build in the United States. The people that are going to make money are people that manufacture cars in the United States. Outside of the United States, that's going to be up to them. I don't care too much about that. But you have a lot of companies coming into the country to manufacture cars. As you know, the Auto Workers Union, I did great. I won Michigan by a lot. But the Auto Workers Union, they were fantastic to me. But now they're really fantastic. And even Sean Fain, who I don't know, but he obviously wasn't a supporter of mine. He's a Democrat. He said wonderful things about Donald Trump. He said, I can't believe this is finally happening. People that manufacture automobiles in the United States are going to make money the likes of which they've never seen before. But beyond that, we have the computer companies, the chip companies, the pharmaceutical companies. We have lumber. We have everything. Steel. They're all going to do really well as long as they do their product in the United States. Thank you very much,
There's a lot
On the
of
border,
discussion about stagflation now. Is that something that you're worried about, given the impact of your efforts to readjust the economy?
I haven't heard that term in years. No, I don't know anything about it. This country is going to be more successful than it ever was. It's going to boom. We're going to have boom down USA. We're going to boom. And many industries. And we're going to bring manufacturing and we're going to bring product. For instance, we need pharmaceuticals in our company. We don't want to be buying our pharmaceuticals from other countries because if we're in a war, we're in a problem. We want to be able to make our own. We have our own lumber. We have our own energy. We don't need energy from Canada. We don't need lumber from Canada. We don't need anything from Canada. We don't need cars from Canada, as an example. So we are going to, I think we're going to have, I call it the golden age of America. I believe this will be the golden age of America. Thank you very much, everyone.
Have you decided on your first foreign trip?
I would have been like, Mr. President, can you settle this debate? Gummy worms or gummy bears? Which one is it? If he says fruit roll-ups, I swear to God. Oh gosh, man, that happened. That happened on March 30th. Today? Yes, it is.